Hey guys, it's Woody the Unexceptional Gamer, and this is Feedback Friday, a weekly series where I answer your questions. It's a little like Mail Monday, but the questions usually are not about personal crisis or anything. Let's get going. Woody, what weapon do you carry as your concealed carry weapon? So for those of you that don't know, I've got a gun on me most of the time. I am licensed to carry it. Does my penis sound longer already? Grr. The answer to the question is the Ruger LCP. I first got my concealed carry because I went camping all the time. And oftentimes I'd get there the night before my friends did. Like, I'd have longer to travel. So I'd show up on Thursday night for a 3-day weekend, and they just like roll in on Friday and meet me there. And when you're camping alone in the woods and you start hearing stuff like rustling around, you know it's an animal. There's nothing else that it could be. There is some animal outside your tent doing something, and you can't even see. You don't know what kind of animal it is. You know, there were mountain lions and weird stuff in that area, cougars or something, and you just like, man, I wish I had a gun. And that's why I first got... Oh, and then sometimes I'd camp expecting to be completely alone, and I'd hear several adult male voices, and it's like, there's other like men roaming around my campsite. What the F? So that was what made me first get my concealed carry. And because in America, if you don't know, like, it's hard to do anything with your gun without a concealed carry. You can't even take it with you, pretty much. Like, you need to put it on the dashboard in some states, and it was all crazy. So I was like, I'd rather just have it, like, in my glove box, for example, or, under my elbow in the little middle of your truck's console. So you can't do that without a concealed carry. So I went out and I got my license, and it turned out to be a really good thing. I wasn't really a gun person beforehand, and there were all sorts of lessons and classes that I had to take to get it, which made me more competent than I would have been otherwise, because I wasn't one of those guys that grew up with guns all over the place. So anyway, Ruger LCP, some will argue that it's too small a gun to really be as deadly as they want it to be. And, if I go camping or something, I'll take a bigger gun. But as far as just having something on me all the time, that's it. And I argue that, the gun that's on you is way more dangerous than the gun that is back at home in the safe. So the fact that it's small enough for me to easily carry means a lot to me. That's why I chose it. Woody, how's your new phone? This is a little bit like console wars. I have just recently switched from an iPhone 4S to a Samsung Galaxy S3, right? Which some would argue, I think most people would agree that I switched from the second best iPhone to the best Android. And I like it. Mostly what I'm finding everyone said is true, and that's that Apple offers a tighter user experience in a lot of ways, but the customization and extra features in an Android are actually pretty cool. So, like, here, I'll just throw out two examples. On the Android, no, better yet, on the Apple, to get into anything, you click on an icon, right? You tap, weather, for example. And you can't check your weather, you can't check your stocks, you can't check your email or anything without going into an application. That's their user interface, and it's pretty much, that's it. You go into the thing, you've got a list of little things that you can tap on, and then you go into it. Android has this concept of widgets, and, sometimes you have icons that are just like the Apples, the iPhones, and sometimes you have widgets that are on the screen, and you can, carry them around and organize them just about any way you want to. And it's pretty cool. On the downside, Apple has these really tight things. Like, for example, the icons are the same size on every iPhone thing, right? So they all look good kind of next to each other. They fit, and it's like they spent some time caring about what the layout of all these icons is supposed to look like. Whereas with the Android, some of them are square, some of them are just little pictures that are random shapes, some of them are big, some of them are small, and some of them look nice next to each other, some of them don't. And there are no standards over in the Android world, which means they're free to do things that you didn't see elsewhere. But, also, like, if you want to make it look nice, I have two transparent widgets on mine, and one of them is like this glassy circle thing with a lens flare, and the other one's this square thing with like a sunglass shade thing, and they don't look right next to each other. And that's the difference. Android does more, but it has these looser controls on it, which, sometimes I wish, for example, all the icons had to be the same size. But I'm still getting used to it. I might do a video on switching and what the differences are at some point. It's hard to find honest ones because most, like I said, it's kind of like console wars. But let's get a new topic. I think this one might be dragging on. Woody, now that you've gone pro on YouTube for almost a year, do you ever see yourself going back to a normal job? Yeah, I do. That's always been the plan. For those that don't know, yeah, sometimes people are like, "Woody, get a real job, go to school, etc., etc." I've done that, right? For those that don't know, I have a master's degree in engineering. I have two bachelor's degrees in accounting and in MIS. And I had a real job as a senior software architect where I worked for Cisco, a Fortune 500 company. Like I did the career thing. Like I'm, I'm not the loser that some of you think I am, but. YouTube has been great. And then once you've had a taste of this, how do you get back to regular work? My hope is that by being really responsible with the, quote unquote YouTube money, that when regular work comes along again, I get to have a kind of different attitude. I remember I had weekly one-on-ones with my manager, and everybody did. That was a Cisco standard. And one-on-one is just a meeting where the two of you meet, and I would go in there prepared every week, to explain my accomplishments, to let people know, like, this is what I got done, these are the things I did, this is what was tough about this week and how I overcame it, and every week I would just sort of sell him on why I was so awesome. And other people would walk in there and talk about their kids, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but I was getting promoted at a rate that was quicker than my peers. And I was always kind of, working extra hard for that bonus, for that, I don't know, promotion, for success at work. And I would love it if I ever had to go back to normal work again, if there was more of a casual thing going on there. I had a coworker who was like that. And he worked on the projects he felt like working on. He kind of enjoyed it. He was nearing retirement, but not 100% ready to do that financially. So, it was like, look, if I had to take 6 months off, then I'll still be fine, right? It's not like I can't survive some period of unemployment. And he had a much more casual feeling about work. And I would love it if I had FU money so that I could be that guy too, instead of the guy who was, clawing trying to get, like, say, medical care for Colin or something. Like, that was my biggest expense. So now, do I think I'll go back to work? I do. I think it would be awesome if I could somehow find a career in entertainment. I don't know what that translates into. Maybe a career in YouTube behind the scenes in some way, but we'll, I guess, cross that bridge when we come to it. Woody, are you serious about having another kid, or was that just some spur-of-the-moment conversation with Jackie? It's kind of hard to define. Like, I would like to have another kid. Like, I was serious about that. That was for real. I don't want one if Jackie doesn't. She does more of the man hours in terms of raising the kids than I do. We have to be on the same page for this thing. But I really was thinking, like, I think this is sort of a normal thought process that people have. Like, the time to have a kid is kind of wrapping up. And you decide to yourself, like, do you really want to do this? We were going to have more kids. Like, we had targeted 5, 6, 3, numbers like that before we had Colin. And then once we realized Colin had special needs and needed extra money and extra time and attention, we thought, like, oh, man, I don't think that that it's the right thing to do to start dividing our attention up between more kids when we've got one kid who needs, quadruple the attention that other people do. And now Colin seems to be doing so much better, and, financially we can swing it. I think to myself, like, it would be really neat to have more kids. But, to say really serious, I'm not, like, dogging Jackie about it or anything. I'm just, I think it might be cool. I don't know if I'm quite ready to stop here, and that's where that is. I think it'd be neat to have one more, and that's where I am on that. Woody, I don't know if you've answered this before, but have you always been someone people turn to for guidance and opinions, or is it just with YouTube? And it's funny, in real life it works in a different way. It's not the paternal thing that happens on YouTube, right? It's here I am trying to clutch this and grab. We're down one flag for the win. Anyway, in real life, it's not so paternal. It's not so, Woody, what should I do? But there is this, like, that it is my nature to say, hey, how you doing? I'm good. No, no. How are you really doing? Like, how are things working out for you? How are, is it okay? How are the kids? How's the wife? How's that thing? Money, whatever. Like um, I've always been one to, I want to say kindly intrude, and like actually connect with someone about real topics as opposed to just sort of glossing over and talking about weather and cars and stuff like that. So that lends itself to like actual connection. So it's not so much the, what should I do about this? Although that kind of existed from time to time. It was always much more of a, just natural outcome of real conversations about deeper topics. So that's what it's like in real life. All right, if you liked the video, click like. If you knew when you liked it, click subscribe in the top right. Two you may have missed. On the left was crazy. I actually show the procedure where they rip pins out of my hands in my doctor's office. It's graphic and stressful, just like it says on there. And on the right is my wife Wednesday, where I talk about stuffing my pants in high school, Jackie's homicidal tendencies, etc. They're both pretty good. Check those out. Open in separate windows. Have a good day.